today with us is Bhakti Lalita D. She is a sannyasi monk. She is resident of Gupta Govardhan Temple in Thailand. She served Srila Gurudev for many years as a secretary, and she's a great example of dedication, discipline, and very kind heart, loving heart. And also she has amazing voice, so you can also listen bhajans which she record on Spotify, and not only there, also different broadcasts. So today we have opportunity to speak with her, to share our hearts with her, and to ask questions. Dandavad Bhakti Lalita.
Dandavad, Nadia Sundari, Dandavad. Looks like you're in Italy now.
Yes.
Okay.
It's noon in Italy. I hear church bells, which Gurudev liked to hear, and hear a lot of devotees. But now a lot of devotees also are in Zoom waiting for some Harikatha. So if you would like to share anything with us, please.
Thank you, my Dandavad, to you and all the assembled devotees, and your humble servant. So I always prefer where there is some necessity. If there's some way I can help, that would be most advantageous. So maybe you have some questions and can let me know how I can be of some service. Very happy to be together on Zoom, and hope and pray everybody's well. We're here just after Gaur Purnima celebrations, and Avadut Maharaj has returned from India. He's here for a few days with us, and then I believe he's off to America next. But he arrived safely this morning with a group from India, and they were all very inspired and brought with them lots of Jagannath Prasadam. We all took upon Avadut Maharaj's arrival, and all is happy and well here.
You mentioned Jagannath Prasadam. We are just reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita here in Villa Govinda about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seeing Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, and like Keshavananda and Madhusudan Maharaj are reading it in very sweet way. Like we're almost there. Just today was about the drops of nectars of Prema, which Jagannath was distributing to all fallen souls.
We're also in our daily recitation in the temple. We're reading about Gundicha Marjan and cleansing of the temple as established by Mahaprabhu with his devotees. And I see Madhusudan Maharaj there. My Dandavad to him. Govinda Govinda, Jai Shri Bhakti Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai. He's next to Kaushalya. Dandavad Maharaj. Here at your service. They're muted. We cannot hear if you're saying something, but we see part of you.
Muted.
Okay, done the video. I think you need headphones.
No, it's unmuted. All good.
Hear you. Danda.
Hare
It's so lovely to see you again.
Go back and forth.
Yes. Ashram to ashram, heart to heart, all Gurudev's homes around the planet. Whenever I travel and visit the devotees in the different temples and ashrams, I always feel I'm in my Gurudev's home. And we have so many of those homes all over the world where he went and touched the hearts of many all over the world. So wonderful to see you all. Get back to the gallery view. Yes, so we are remembering the Lord and his devotees and cleaning our hearts, whether that's engaged in services like Gundicha Marjan, whether it's daily life in our ashrams and temples, and even the homes of devotees. That is also a Grihastha ashram, an ashram in its own right. So once Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said all about the angle of vision is the attitude, and the angle of vision is everything. And he said, don't see everything and everyone in your environment for your own self, for your own sense gratification. See that everyone and everything, they're all ingredients and servitors of Krishna. Even if you're in a grihastha life, your husband or your wife, see them as a gopi, as a gopa. This person I'm married to, they are Krishna's servant. Or if we're in a brahmachari ashram, I am servant of my guru, of the Vaishnavas, of the Lord. We are all in each of our respective circumstances. We are all servitors of the Lord, and everything in our environment is meant for his satisfaction, for his service. So if we can see like that, Srila Saraswati Thakur was saying, if we can see that everyone and everything around us is meant for Krishna and not for me, then our Goloka, Vrindavan, will descend. It will descend before our eyes. Everything, our home will become Vrindavan. If we can see my wife, my husband, they are a gopi, they are a gopa. All the children, they are all the servitors of Bala Gopal. That name of Krishna was given by Saraswati Thakur. Young Gopal, Bala Gopal, like in Italy, he's in his childhood form. And all the children are his playmates, his servitors. So all the children are in the group of Bala Gopal. They're not your child. You're taking care of them for Krishna and his service. So everything and everyone that we are living with, interacting with, they are all ingredients and servitors of Krishna. So Saraswati Thakur said, if you can have that angle of vision, you'll get Vrindavan. It will descend in your home, in your ashram, whoever you are, wherever you are. So this is key in our lives. Having the right angle of vision. Once a devotee came to the Chaitanya Saraswat Mat and asked Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhardev Goswami, what is my service? And he said, your service is to acquire the proper angle of vision. That will be your service. That's the most important thing. And how do we do that? Through the grace and through the service of sadhu, guru, Vaishnava. Through serving them, we can get proper mood of service, proper mood for chanting, and proper angle of vision will descend. So even though there's so many things we can do to help ourselves, chanting the Mahamantra, chanting our Gayatri mantra, worshipping the deity, offering all our food, Guru and Krishna, and doing everything we can, following all the practices and principles of devotion. All these things are going to help us in our service. So we try our best from our side, but ultimately this is a descending matter. This is grace descending down to us. Krishna consciousness is not something we can demand or attain through our endeavors. No doubt everything we do will help us attain the favor of the Supreme Lord and the Guru and the Vaishnava. They want to see that we're sincere, we're trying, we're eager, but ultimately we're just dependent on their descending grace. Then we can taste and experience proper angle of vision, real Krishna consciousness. So another thing comes to mind is once a group of Vaishnavas came to meet Srila Sridhar Maharaj. After the disappearance of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And many of his followers went to Srila Sridhar Maharaj for adjustment, for higher knowledge, for fine-tuning in their conception, for shelter, for guidance. And after so many discussions, and we've reaped the results, all these beautiful books that were printed by the Guardian of Devotion Press, by Goswami Maharaj and Mahayogi Prabhu, all these books came from those talks. And but one thing not printed that came about in a conversation that I heard from Goswami Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj answered so many questions of the assembled devotees, especially coming from ISKCON. Then he said, "You've asked me so many questions. Let me ask you a question," turning the tables. And tell me, what is Krishna consciousness? And so many responses came from the assembly. Someone said, "What Prabhupada taught us." And someone said, "Bhakti." And someone says, "Vaishnava Seva." So many answers, and they're not wrong. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj then, after so many responses, he answered his own question. And he said, Krishna consciousness is reality. I'm just including in brackets here, it's not a religion, not a philosophy, an ontology, although all those things that are within Krishna consciousness. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj says it's just reality, which he says is beautiful. Reality is beautiful. So his answer is Krishna consciousness is reality, and it's within your best interest to become acquainted with that reality. So that's what Krishna consciousness is, according to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. It's reality, reality the beautiful, absolute reality. And it's within our own best interests to become acquainted with that reality. So that's something I always really appreciated. And keep in mind, that sometimes we can think, we're a part of a society, and sectarian thinking can creep up, can somehow we might feel a little bound by our society consciousness, but actually Sri Guru is giving actual God consciousness. When society consciousness may hinder us and not inspire us, then it must be left behind, and priority and emphasis must be given to God consciousness. So we need to be reminded always, we're dealing with something very broad, very spacious, infinite in character, reality, not just some figment of someone's imagination or some rituals or some external things, but reality is descending and revealing itself to all of us. So we bow our heads and we try to please the Vaishnavas and our Gurus and the Lord, and do our best from our side with faith and confidence that reality will descend on us within our hearts. We are slaves of that reality, that truth. Sri Guru says, judge a person by their ideal. If their ideal is great, the person is great. That's very harmonious for us. We're living, so many of us are living in large communities of devotees, in temples and ashrams, part of this, devotee family. And sometimes we may not always understand each other or fully appreciate each other. But Sri Guru here is saying, just look at that devotee's ideal. What are they living for, and what is their aim of life? What are they striving for? They're all of them, all of us, we're striving to be servants of the servants of Guru Vaishnava. So that's such a high ideal, and we can appreciate that in everyone, in all our devotees, our God brothers and sisters, and God cousins, and aunties and uncles, and father figures, and children. We have now multi-generations living within our society and our communities. We can see everyone as having that highest ideal that we can worship and honor that in everyone. So I think I mention these things in every Zoom we have. Tell me if I'm just saying the same thing over and over again, but I'm just sharing with you what inspires me about Krishna consciousness and words from our Guru Varga that keep me going. And one more thing Sri Guru shared that helps us find harmony with each other is that mark the bright side in each other. And he says, mark the bright side and ignore the apparent side. What he means by apparent is what may be on a superficial face value surface. Something may be undesirable that you feel is less than ideal. Then mark the bright side. See what's the good in that devotee. And mark that, focus on that. See the good, see the brightness, see their ideal. And that will adjust your vision and bring harmony. Never campaign against another devotee. If you see what is less than ideal, passively withdraw and show a superior example. Passive withdrawal doesn't mean I'm leaving goodbye. It just means don't let your ego assert. Don't let your ego get in the way. And just mark the bright side. So some wonderful tips from Srila Sri Maharaj, some advice how to be harmonious with each other in our environments.
Jai.
Any questions?
Yes, actually, I wanted to say, and Narayan is saying that to hear from you, it's like a nectar sweet. It's never enough. And we all need to be constantly reminded about everything. We just forget. And as I see, each of senior devotees has its own like theme. For example, Sri Guru D is always telling about how to surrender to the hard situations in your life and accept it like a gift from Krishna. Or Mohanananda is constantly saying about forgiveness. So each of you has like very important what to give us. And yet we have questions. First question will be from Rasananda from Moscow. He's asking why we are not supposed to chant our japa in bed. That's not proper place to do that. Can you explanation to him, like very practical question?
Well, I've actually haven't heard that exact restriction. What we hear is there's no restriction for chanting the Mahamantra. There's no restriction. Even Gurudev said, like, not with your japamala, when you're in the shower, you're in the bathroom, that time you're also chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. No restriction for chanting, but maybe with japa, we want to be a little attentive and not fall asleep in the bed. Maybe in that context, something to keep in mind that we don't want to be laying down with our japamala and just drifting off into sleep. That would be inattentive. So better we're more in an upright position and chanting attentively. And the most important way to chant attentively is with mood of service. How may I serve? Lord, please reveal yourself. Dance on my tongue. The transcendental sound, vibration, form of the Lord's mantra. So we've received our japamalas from our gurus. We take that as the most precious thing we have. And when we do our japa, at least minimum 4 rounds, Gurudev said, and more if you can, then it's not asking too much. And if we can do that attentively and in a good mood and being alert, that's best. That's ideal. That's my answer.
Thank you, Bhakti Lalita. And the next question is from Narayana. She is asking how to accept our mistakes and to make a proper conclusion from that mistakes. Maybe you have some practical advice, how you accept your mistakes.
Yes, well, that happens almost daily. And, acceptance is very important. What can we do? We are fallen souls, and we just get right back up again and know that service and our spiritual lives are the most important thing for us. So we don't want to lose it. Even if we make mistakes, what are we supposed to do? We can't give up. We can't lament, but we try again. We persevere, and in a prayerful mood. Please excuse me, the devotees, Sri Guru, the Lord, if I've made any inconvenience, any trouble for you, forgive me. Forgiveness, Mahamandala Prabhu, as he's saying. If we've caused any inconvenience to others, we apologize. If we've inconvenienced ourselves in our service, we just prayerfully pray in our hearts for the Lord, for Gurudev, to be kind and patient with us. They know they're in our hearts, and they know we're trying and that we're fallen souls, taking shelter of them. And Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj would always say that to the Guru and to the Lord, we are like babies. So some of you who are mothers and fathers, you know when your child does something wrong, you don't take offense. You just are patient with them, and even forgiveness is not required. It's just when you're a baby, you'll do what babies do. You'll fall down, you'll cry, you'll make mistakes, you'll poop in your diaper. Gurudev said the mother is the most showing the most pure affection and love in this world. That's where we can source that the most pure relationship in the world is between the mother and the child. And the baby in Bengal, in India, oftentimes the babies aren't wearing diapers. So the mother's holding the naked baby. The baby poops all over the mother. The mother doesn't throw the baby. The mother cleans the baby, takes a bath, changes cloth, and gets on with it. So when we're like babies, which we are, that is our situation. We're always being forgiven. We're always being cared for and excused, and faults are overlooked, and there's no offense. So we keep going, knowing that our guardians are merciful and gracious to us. Did I answer your question, Narayani? Are you satisfied?
I think she is checking the translation. Yes. Okay. Yes. And next question will be from Pavel from Moscow. He would like to ask his question live.
Yes, I always see you in our Zooms, and it's so nice you're joining us.
Dandavat Pranam Bhakti Lalita and all assembled devotees. Right now I'm talking to you and I'm hearing you from the hospital room, because a couple of days ago I had some surgery which was planned, It was quite interesting story, but that's not the point of my question. What I would like to ask, or what I would like to do now, is I don't know whether it's question or confession. So I was preparing for a month for to have this surgery, and I am such a precise person. I'm just amazed with myself. You know, I prepared everything. I prepared Mahaprasadam. I prepared lots of books with me. I took with me Kanti Mala and Japa Mala that was sent to me by Awadut Maharaj from India right now. Basically, I'm not even initiated yet, but I'm waiting for initiation right now. But I'm such such a jerk. I'm sorry that I'm very, very precise with all that I'm doing, japas and everything else. Not I'm saying that I'm good, but I'm a very punctual person, so to speak. And I knew that when I will be prepared for the surgery, I will take Mahaprasadam, and when I will be driven to the surgery room, I will be reading circles of japa and everything else. Here, what happened? So the day had come, the nurses came to my room. They told me, okay, now you are on your way. So they put me on a stroller and they drove me to the surgery room. And at that moment, I realized that I was totally unplugged from everything. I felt some kind of a blackness. I was not nervous at all because I had even more complicated surgeries in the past, and I'm not afraid of that. But all my preparations was momentarily forgotten. So all I felt was totally feeling of being unplugged from everything. I didn't remember even Maha Mantra words. I didn't remember anything, but it didn't bother me. I was just empty. And then the next moment I remember was that they put me under, and then somebody is clapping my cheeks and saying, okay, you're done, you are back in your room. Well, I'm coming back from the anesthesia and everything else, and I see Mahaprasadam laying on my table stand, not even touched. And I just realized that, okay, so it means that all my preparations, all my punctuality, all my precision with everything that I'm trying to do, well, so to speak, less than perfect. And one could be depressed with that, but for some reason I realized that this blackness, this unplug that I felt, was some kind of a blessing, just to remind me how deep is my imperfection, how far away from Krishna consciousness I am, how miserable I am. And I'm not saying that was a pride or something like that. Question I want to ask, should I take that as a warning sign or as a blessing? Should I take that as a kind of a reminder? Hey, hello, man, that's who you are. That's where you are at right now, at the moment. Just get going or something like that. Or should I say it as a real warning sign or something? Did I do anything wrong? Or, well, it's a stupid question. Of course I do a lot of things wrong. But I don't know, maybe it's a little bit turbulent way to put it together, but I hope you understand, my dear devotees and Bhakti Lalita, what I'm saying right now, and I want to have your comment on that or answer if you consider that as a question. Thank you. Dandavat.
Dandavat, Pavel. First of all, get well soon. May you heal and recover quickly and successfully. And thank you for sharing very personal things you shared just now. And it's heartbreaking to know that the devotees, I consider you a devotee, that devotees have to suffer. And I think to answer your question, there's nothing you did wrong. You tried to prepare yourself to be situated in Krishna's grace. You wanted to have prasadam, you wanted the holy name, you wanted the books. You're taking shelter. All these preparations were for you to be in the shelter of Guru and Krishna. And that's a worshipable, honorable thing, and that's the point. That's what we all need to do, especially in moments like that, you're there in a hospital, you're unsure of the outcome, and we want to be prepared to get the grace and do everything we can to have the Lord's shelter. And it's, I think, the Lord's arrangement that somehow you felt this unplugged situation and you were being just brought in with no supplies at hand. It was just you and the Lord, and He gave you shelter and He protected you, and His grace is with you. You came through, and that lamentation you feel it's a worshipable thing. That, oh, I forgot everything at that moment. When it's that heart response that you felt, that kind of disconnected, unplugged reality. I think that was your reaction is proper and worshipable. That you would feel that there was nothing you could do to prepare for that moment, even though you tried so hard. So, we live and learn. There could be some lesson there that really it's the shelter of our the saints, the devotees, the Lord, Guru, Vaishnava. And we can be in those moments where we try so hard to have everything we need, but really it comes down to heart and surrender mood, embracing the Lord's guardianship, being confident, being humble, Sharanagati. That is the best way we can be prepared for all situations is surrender. And I think you're on your way, if not already surrendered. You're waiting for your initiation. You're taking shelter of the Lord, of Abhidut Maharaj, the devotees. Then there's no wrong, no mistake, nothing to lament for. And really honor that mood. So, Sharanagati, surrender. You're accepting favorable, rejecting what is unfavorable in devotion. You're taking supplies that will be there to support you in your spiritual life and protect you. You're taking all these things to the hospital. You're bringing Mahaprasadam and books and Kuntimala, Japamala, and that's what we want. We want to be taking shelter. And lastly, comes down to our surrender. And I think you experienced that it was just you being wheeled into that operation. You and the Lord in your heart, and your divine guardians. And knowing they took care of you and sheltered you. That is the main thing. So came through, and everything is their grace, and you can feel that you were under the shade of their lotus feet, and by their grace you are fine, you live to tell, and everything is all right. So your guardians are there with you. So basically my answer is that you were in a situation where you had to surrender, and you did. So that's an honorable, worshipable thing, and that's what we want.
Thank you, Bhakti Lalita. Thank you, all devotees. You are my shelter.
Thank you for sharing and having such beautiful devotional mood. Good for all of us, and you're part of the family, and we'll celebrate your initiation. We look forward to it. We've been seeing you for so many years, joining us on Zoom and all of our festivals. And wonderful that you're going to get Gurudev's connection. So happy for you.
Jai Gurudev. Thank you
Jai.
for our
Thank you. Thank you.
next question will be from Vraja Sundar Didi. She will ask live.
Dandavats. Dandavats. My question is somehow also connected with the hospital. During last several weeks, I had lived in the hospital, and just a week ago, my mother was taken to the intensive care unit. Simply, she's old, she's 78, and so this is the nature of this mundane world, Mrityu Loka, yes. And several days ago, I was standing there near her bed with my child in my hands, and right behind us, there was, a bed with a big black plastic bag with two words, head on one side and feet on another side, full bag, yes. Because it is such a unit, I saw so many deaths as I haven't seen during my whole life, when I lived there. And so after I didn't sleep in the night because I was thinking about my son. I was thinking that, yes, I was standing there. No, I'm not afraid of that dead body, yes. But simply I was thinking that behind my back, there is Srila Gurudev, because I have his initiation, yes. But who is standing behind the back of my children? Because if my child was baptized, he would have Jesus behind his back. But he hasn't had initiation yet. So who's protecting him from spiritual point of view now? Of course, my prayers, but my prayers, if to compare, for example, with the figure of Jesus, is nothing. So, so my question is about this protection of children. Thank you.
I would believe that Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, our Parampara, Nityananda Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, Radha, Krishna, our lords, they are protecting your children because they are your children. They're under your care, and you are under the care of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. So they won't be neglected. They're part of Gurudev's family. You are part of Gurudev's family. So the extensions of yourself are included. And you can be confident about that. They are getting the shelter of Gurudev. And when they are ready, and we pray that all our children will want this connection when they're old enough, that that will come to them by the grace of the Lord. But in the meantime, all these children are under your care. All the mothers and fathers, the devotees who are disciples of Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, or Guru Varga, they are getting like extended shelter because of your connection. So don't be fearful about that. The Lord is within everyone's heart, and you are the devotee, family, all included in Gurudev's mercy. So have no fear or hesitation. and do your best. Srila Sridhar Maharaj said there's no guarantee with children. We don't know the outcome. We don't know if they'll even be good people when they get older. We hope for the best, but there's risk involved in having children. And the only thing we can really do is be affectionate and show a good example to them. And we hope one day they will want to come forward for initiation, get that direct connection. But in the meantime, they're under you, they're under your care and within the umbrella shade of Guru and Gauranga. And that's for sure. Okay.
Thank you, Rajasundari, for your question. Thank you, Bhakti Lalita. We still have 15 minutes and 2 questions. I'm sorry, Rajasundari, do you have more questions or I can? More questions? Okay.
Yes, and my another question is about my mother. When she was a child, she was baptized in Catholic Church because we are Polish and her father was Catholic. And so I called for a priest, and he made like confession and a church rite of unction and all of these things. Everything what should be done before death, yes. But I'm thinking, where will she be after? Because there is one of the verses in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 11, which can be translated in different variants. One of the variants, I would come to, when Krishna says that I would come to the soul on the same level as the soul comes to me, and in other translation, I would come to the soul using the same path as the soul, yes? And so where will she be? Because she's like more Catholic. So after death, she will have a Christian variant of everything what will happen or what will be.
Yes, I forgot to mention our good wishes for your mother and prayers that Guru and Krishna will bless her more and more. She's already blessed having you as a child, a devotee who's come to the shelter of Guru and Gauranga. So she has that under her belt. She has, she's done something spiritual in her life by having you who are connected to this Rupanuga, Guru Varga, your servitor of Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj and his entourage, his devotees. Then your mother gets some super benefit for that. So that will be with her and will never be lost. And that will take her in a very progressive way. She'll have a bright future. And exactly what kind of bright future? We cannot say. That is between her and the Lord. And her conception has something to do with it. But moreover, she has some connection through you. And that will be with her, that won't be lost when she leaves this world. That will only take her to a better place. So once Gurudev told me that my father, he was also very Catholic, and he left this world when Gurudev was on the planet in 2007. He told me that my father, even though he's very Catholic, he will attain devotion to Krishna. It's within his future at some point. So he knew nothing about Krishna consciousness. And talking about Jagannath Prasadam, I gave him some Maha Jagannath Prasadam that I collected from Gurudev's plate when we were in Jagannath Puri. And I dried some of the rice from Gurudev's plate, and I gave some of that dried rice to my father. And his mood completely changed. He went from being a little fearful, what am I doing? What kind of guru do I have? And concerned for my welfare. And just moments after taking that Maha Prasadam, his mind completely changed. And he became at ease. And he felt like I was doing the right thing, that I was very fortunate, and he was very proud of me. It was just some mysterious miracle of Maha Prasadam that my father received. So we can do that, try to share some prasadam with our parents, our loved ones, extend some mercy to them somehow. There's many ways. Give them a little bit of Mahaprasadam, some Charnamrita, chant the holy name for them, read Bhagavad Gita at their bedside, which I also did for my father. I chanted the Mangala Charanam from Bhagavad Gita as my the last days of my father's life. So we can all try in some way. If there's some open mood, some appreciation. Of course, if they don't want to hear, they don't want to take, we don't force that. But if there's some opportunity to share some way, to extend some mercy, try to do that. Do you have any Mahaprasadam at home? Give some Charnamrita, can give to your mother. Can offer something and share it with her. Read Bhagavad Gita, chant Maha Mantra. That would be supremely beneficial for her. Rajasundari, is that possible?
Thank you, Bhakti Lalita. I'm sorry, Rajasundari. I would like to give opportunity to also 2 more questions from the devotees. I'm sorry. Bhakti Lalita.
I think I answered her question.
Mm-hmm. Bhakti Lalita D is asking, she's actually saying that you gave today beautiful keys how to live spiritual life everywhere, temple or life outside the temple. Could you tell, are there any cases when a person should leave the temple?
Leave the temple. Well, yes, if we find there's some offense to our gurus, to the Vaishnavas, and we feel we are in bad association, then that time we can excuse ourselves, go to a different temple, if possible, where we are confident about the devotees there. But that's a delicate matter, and I would say case by case, and maybe on a separate occasion we can discuss more details about that, because that's a serious thing. I don't want to have you expose any details now in a public Zoom, but there are cases where we might have to withdraw ourselves and go elsewhere. So that would be unfortunate, and case by case, and seeing the circumstances and weighing and measuring. situation. We need to be able to properly assess the situation, and to give you a definite answer, I'd need to know more. But it does happen sometimes, and we've seen that with like Goswami Maharaj's story. He ended up being forced out of ISKCON for supporting and worshipping and distributing Srila Sridhar Maharaj's talks and books and preaching on behalf of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that he became persona non grata, not appreciated, and was forced to leave. So that's a long story, but that experience we know about. And a lot of things can be resolved. Sometimes we feel like everything's, we might be in a situation where it's uncomfortable. There's a particular bad phase of our lives, but all things pass. Things can be resolved, and that's the best if we can communicate with the other devotees, especially maybe who's managing, who's in charge. Have to make sure we're communicating with them and revealing our hearts, and exchanging confidentially, and make sure that they know what is on our minds and how we're feeling, and if we're feeling any trouble or disturbance, that should be brought to the seniors and try to be resolved and worked out. So that would be the first course of action. If you can do that. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhakti Lalita. It was actually an important question. And last question from Vidura Das. I'm thankful he was so patient waiting. And then...
Yeah, thanks. Dandavats Bhakti Lalita.
It's about 5 feet away from me.
Yeah. Yeah, Dandavats Bhakti Lalita and all devotees. I wanted to ask a question about verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 35, where basically Arjuna asks Krishna that mind is very difficult to control and how to do it, and Krishna answers. So Lord Krishna said, Almighty Arn, son of Kunti, what you say is correct. The mind is indeed very difficult to restrain, but by practice and detachment, it can be controlled. But also, Sridhar Maharaj warns us about like false detachment or false renunciation. So what is an example of proper detachment and how to do it? So this is my question.
Well, Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he once said, when we wake up in the morning, we have to discipline our mind. And when we go to sleep, we also have to discipline. And he said, in the morning with a broomstick, with a shoe, I'm not sure which one was morning or evening, the broomstick or the shoe. But he used those two things to hit our mind with when we wake up and when we go to sleep. So we need some discipline, and that will bring some detachment and some, what was the other word Krishna used? Not only detachment,
but also practice.
Practice, yes. So that, I think, discipline, self-discipline goes within the practice category. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj said the unrestrained mind can be like an evil guardian telling you to do all the wrong things. Like, I want this, I want that, I want this. And that's what the mind's job is. If it's unrestrained, it will want all the wrong things. Even like, example, drugs, alcohol, things that are, you know, not going to be good for you and harm you. The mind, when it's out of control and undisciplined, it will want things that will not help, will not be friendly for you. But if you can somehow, through practice and detachment, Krishna is saying, that mind can become restrained. And he mentions, maybe in the next few verses, that your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And we have that experience that just through practice, through service to Guru, to Vaishnavas, and persevering on this path, the mind becomes disciplined, becomes tamed and restrained. And then you'll find it becomes quiet and peaceful, and it will help you. It will not demand all the wrong things. It will not be the evil guardian who's trying to get you in trouble and to oppress you and suppress you. So by service and perseverance and practice, that type of detachment can come. You know, detachment can also mean that we will become less and less egocentric, self-centered, and rather God will become more of our center. Krishna will become our center, and everything will gradually center around him. And we will become detached from our egoistic, self-centered existence. And our attachment can become fixed on him. So that is the object of all our practices and our life in Krishna consciousness. And the mind will benefit from that. It will become helpful for you. So everything actually comes through grace in our practicing lives. We don't really need to make a separate endeavor, like a painstaking separate endeavor to fix our different shortcomings and difficulties and the unrestrained mind. Actually, just by doing service and persevering under all circumstances, that mind will become disciplined and detached. So I would say no separate endeavor needs to be done, only just throwing yourself into the service world and doing all the good things that we need to do every day in our practicing lives, chanting the Mahamantra. And Saraswati Thakur's teaching about disciplining the mind, we keep that in mind. We keep that at the forefront, that yes, we need to be a little alert to the fact that our mind can be a source of trouble for us if it's not disciplined. So not to listen all the time. And it will become, through not listening, it will start to give up. The mind is kind of like, you know, an alter ego. It has a voice, and it will demand things. But if you don't supply those things that are not going to be good, that the mind is demanding, then less and less it will become quiet and subside, and everything will be achieved. So no painstaking separate endeavor is really needed for adjusting ourselves in Krishna consciousness. Just in the fire of Krishna consciousness, everything will become purified, including our mind. That's my answer today. And Nadia Sundari, are we good?
Yes, I apologize to Raja Sundari that I interrupted her. I didn't had intention to make offense, but just also here Madhusudan Maharaj is having Zoom, so we should finish now. And thank you all of you who was here, who was asking questions, who was sharing personal things. It's all very important and gives all of us some foundation to keep going.
Thank you for your patience and having me, and it's my pleasure and my service to be utilized, and I'm always available. Devotees know how to contact me if I can ever be helpful. So my dandavat to all the devotees, and forgive if I've missed any points. And I think Rajasundari got my answer. I think maybe she was a little cut off, maybe, but she can always call me. We can talk more, and same for everybody. You're at your service. Jai Gurudev, Jai Guru Maharaj, Jai Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Giridhari Ju Ki Jai, all the Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Jai Vishnu Pachila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Siddhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Bimala Vidit Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai, all the Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Srimati Bhakti Lalita Ki Jai.
But to all the assembled devotees.
Tutti devoti Ki Jai. Dandavat Pranam. Dandavat, dear devotees.